So a couple of weeks ago, I put out a video that said your resume does not matter, and I still hold to that. And so today I want to talk to you about how to stop applying and what to do instead. Let's get into it. So how do you land a job without applying? Well, you network. Okay, you're like, yeah, cool. It's easier said than done. How do I do that? Let me tell you. First, you need to figure out, where do you actually want to work? Start with a list of companies that sound interesting to you. You will pick up more along the way, but normally in your area, or if you want remote, you've looked online and figured out who's hiring remote, write down a list of those companies that actually interest you. Then find people who work there. Now, we live in an amazing time where you can find people at your dream company, even if you live states away, even if you have no connections at the company. We can find people at the company. Here are a couple of ways how. Number one, tried and true, LinkedIn. Now, I would suggest first starting with the alumni feature. I have a video about it. I'll put that here so you can learn more. Look at the alumni feature, see if anyone you know from school or anyone who went to your school works at that company. Then just use LinkedIn in general. Then other ways to do this: join an association, go to events, the departments you're interested in, the companies you're interested in. What associations would they most likely be in? Join those associations, go to those events. Other professional events in your town. Go to LinkedIn locals if they exist where I live. If they still exist where you live, go to those, or other events like A Million Cups if you really want to be in the startup industry. Things like that are great places to meet people who could possibly work at your dream company. Or you just find out about other cool companies along the way. Also, conferences. What's the main industry conference for your area? That one can be pricey. Look into volunteering. Figure out if it's worth the investment, if it puts you in front of the right people. And then lastly, physical proximity. Actually being near where they are. So if you have a dream company you want to work at and there's a Starbucks next door, most likely the people from that dream company go to Starbucks. They go in the morning. Make that the Starbucks you work at every day, where you're networking from, where you're working on your branding, all of that, or just where you go read a book for an hour every day around 9 a.m. to meet people. It seems silly, but it really does work. The other example I always love to give for this is if you drive Uber, you get to choose your location. So drive in the area of the company you want to work at so that you're more likely to pick up somebody from that company if you drive around their office than if you're driving around your home hoping and praying. Then once you meet those people, once we start building some connections, get to know them, ask them for coffee, chat with them at associations, just start to build relationships. We are not meeting somebody and immediately going, hey, do you know of any openings at the company? Or hey, can I use you as a referral? They don't know you yet. Sometimes magic happens. I have met somebody for 10 minutes and at the end of that figured out, oh my gosh, I have a job for you. Hey, you should apply for this position. And 5 years later, they still work in that position. It's happened to me at least twice off the top of my head. So sometimes that magic does happen, but sometimes you meet somebody and you get to know them, and this is a long-term play. You're gonna keep getting to know them and building that relationship so that when a position comes up, they think of you and want to refer you. Or when a position comes up that you see online, you can say, hey, would you refer me for this position? Because you know them and they want to do that for you. But in the meantime, until that position opens, get to know them and figure out what do they need help with, and then how can you help them? So this can be work-related things like, hey, what's something you've been working on lately that you're having a hard time solving? Or what do you, just even as simple as asking, what do you need help with? And if it's work-related, figure out if you can come up with a couple of solutions and send them their way. Even if they're things they already thought of, the fact that you took your time out of your day to try and create solutions to solve their problems, that's going to go far. There's a whole science of reciprocity, and so when you're giving and providing solutions for them, that's going to make them much more likely to reciprocate and want to help you out. So try and figure out solutions to their problems. Like I said, that could be work-related problems, but this is what people miss. It can also be personal related problems. So you get to meet somebody and you have coffee with them and you're like, hey, what's going on in your life? And they say, oh, you know, work's going going great, but we are really struggling right now with finding a nanny for our kids. I need a new nanny. Ours is leaving next month, and we just don't know what we're gonna do. Can you find some nanny services and send them over to them? Or can you ask around with some friends and see if they know anybody? This is a great one if you're a college student. Who are your friends that nanny? Give them their names and say, hey, here's some references for you. It can be a personal problem that you help solve. So it can be that simple. I just always love to put that one out there because people don't think about it. They think everything has to be professional and work related. No, it doesn't. We are still human beings connecting with other human beings. So solve their problem, whatever form it comes in. And then you can ask them for what you want. After you've gotten to know them a little bit, after you've helped them out, then you can say, hey, by the way, I saw this position. Would you be willing to put my name in for it? Now, granted, sometimes with this, you do still have to apply. But the application is now more of a formality instead of, oh my gosh, I have to make sure I do this absolutely perfect and it's my life's work to get this correct. Everything hinges on this application. No, it doesn't. The application is a formality because you've got that beautiful referral. That's what matters most. That is how you really can start landing jobs without applying online. Half the time they won't even make you fill out the application. They just send you straight to interviews, or they're like, hey, just for formality's sake, you got to fill this out, but we want you to interview on Thursday because so-and-so referred you. Start focusing on networking instead of applying online. That is how you can land a job without spending hours filling in those stupid boxes that ask you the exact same questions as your resume. If you want more help with how to network, I've given you the basics here. I go in depth, including swipe files, email templates, what to say in all these different scenarios in my course, Land a Job You Love. You can learn more about it in the description box below. And now I would go watch the video on my craziest career advice, learn more about reciprocity and proximity here.